That was real awkward, huh? It's quiet. You remember me? Who remembers me? Did I talk a lot? Yes. She said yes. All right, I'll be up here for 5 minutes. I'm kidding. All right. So last time I was here, I talked about passion. I talked about purpose. I paced a lot. I think I talked a lot. So I'm not going to talk a lot tonight. But what I do want to talk about is something that I feel like will hit a little closer to home for you guys. Can everybody hear me? You guys hear me in the back? You guys hear me in the back? All right. I want to talk about discipline and obedience. Okay? So this is kind of how I work. If you haven't seen me talk before, haven't seen me speak, I do ask questions. I want you guys' feedback. I don't like to talk at you. I like to talk with you. So if I ask you something, or I ask the whole crowd, or somebody puts their hands up, I do want you to talk back to me. Like I said before, we can do this quiet game, we can do the silence game, but I really want you guys' feedback. It kind of helps me to be able to talk with you, like I said, as opposed to at you. Look, everybody's getting close. Anybody else want to get close? Come on. Come on. Y'all don't want to get closer? Y'all for it? She talking to us? Ain't nobody behind y'all. All right, so you're going to see me pull something out of my pocket. Okay? It's a sheet of paper. It has 2 definitions on here that I want to read verbatim. I could have said them how I want to say them, but I'd like for you guys to have them exactly as they are in the dictionary. So, first question. I want you guys to tell me what you think discipline means. Oh, y'all know exactly. What is it?
Following rules, doing what you're supposed to do.
Okay. Following rules, doing what you're supposed to do. Okay. We got obeying. Obeying what? The rules of adults, okay. Anybody else? I want 2 more answers. What is dedication? What does discipline mean? What do you think discipline means? Little man. Okay, so we're going to end up putting those all together. One last. Anybody?
I think discipline means.
Is this already ready?
Okay. So I'm hearing a trend. I'm hearing you guys say a lot of obey, okay? Discipline and obey. Now I'm going to ask you, what is obedience? Without telling me it means to obey. What is obedience?
Respect for authority.
Okay? Respect for authority. Oh, I know you want to. Come on. You went like this. What do you think it means? Following directions? Okay. Y'all gonna make me start calling on y'all. Follow what you're told without question. All right, I'm going to read exactly what I have for those 2 definitions before I actually start to get to the message, okay? Discipline. To train someone to obey rules or a code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. Okay? Let y'all say it one more time, okay? Discipline. To train someone to obey rules or a code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. That's discipline. Obedience. And you notice there's obey and obedience, so a lot of you guys are saying obey with obedience. Compliance with an order. Okay? With an order. Compliance with an order, a request, or a law, or submission to another. Usually another being authority. Now, I said all that, and now I'm about to jump into my message. I'm going to start with the natural, and I'm going to work my way into the spiritual, okay? So I need you guys to follow me. You start getting confused, just let me know. Third question. I need somebody to make the connection. Now, I put obey and obedience all together. Make the connection for me of obedience and discipline. How do they go together? Okay. So they're both about following rules? two ain't gonna be allowed to answer. We're getting somewhere. There we go. Come on, man.
Discipline is sort of training you to be obedient.
Okay. Are we here in a trend? All right. Now, let me walk you through my life. Okay. For those of you who were here before, I gave you, Pastor Jeff gave you kind of a rundown of my history, everything I've done. We didn't talk too much about my childhood, but I kind of want to go there as this pertains to you guys. My parents were very, very tough disciplinarians. I was very disciplined as a child. Okay. I was raised with the belt. If I did something, I was disobedient. I was grounded. I had things taken away from me. I was put in a corner. I could go to my room. I couldn't play. What is the worst thing your parent can do to you right now to discipline you? Ooh, I feel somebody's going to say it. Go ahead.
My mom, she takes my clothes like for 2 weeks.
Your clothes? Okay. So what did you go to school in?
Same thing. I had to wash it.
Ooh. How'd that make you feel?
I was salty.
Salty. She was salty.
Cell phone.
Oh, that's what I thought you were going with. Cell phone. No, she took the clothes? That was worse than the cell phone? She was sleeping in a bag, huh? I want both of them. Y'all still get whippings?
Yeah.
Y'all still get whippings? I don't believe that.
I felt inspiring, Rob. That is like the first time someone said.
Xbox?
I'm sorry.
Spoons. Alright, so we got spoons. You got hands.
I ain't afraid to show it.
When you say that, hold on, because he said take away freedom. So when you say that, what did they do specifically to you?
Well, I'm just not saying. I'm just saying, I'm speaking for everyone else.
Just so cell phones, clothes, all that classified, no TV. All right, we'll go one more. Did everybody hear what he said? So his parents didn't take anything from him. He said disappointment. How many of you guys feel horrible when you know your parents aren't mad at you, but they're disappointed in you? Almost like, man, I let my parents down. That's a nice big broad. So, disciplined as a child. I told you everything down to I didn't have cell phones back then. We didn't have cell phones. Not that I'm that old, but we didn't have cell phones when I was your age. But the discipline that my parents did end up giving me as a young kid, from could hardly walk all the way up until I left their house, has transferred into my adulthood. Now, I say that to say this, and I'm going to touch on something. I want to make sure I get it right. I wrote down 2 Bible verses. I'm not one to really get up here and quote a lot of scriptures, because you can quote, even Satan knows scriptures, so you can quote them all day. But if you can't tie them to your life, they don't mean anything. Okay? You want the scripture to be able to give you life. So I'm going to read 2 scriptures verbatim to you. Okay? Deuteronomy 8:5. Know then in your heart, as a man disciplines his son, the Lord your God disciplines you. Now, at this age, many of you do not like discipline. You don't want discipline. You want to do everything your way. You know everything. Okay? Understand that God is telling you you need discipline from your parents. So not having any clothes, you're probably like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm going to stink. Were you able to actually wash your clothes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you was able to wash the clothes. Yes.
To wash it.
Yes. So losing your cell phone, you feel like it's the end of the world. Getting your Xbox taken from you, you feel like it's the end of the world. What else did we say? Belts. How did you feel when you get? I'll tell you how I felt when I got beat. The what? Did you say the frying pan?
The TV cord.
But they don't. Did this really happen to you though, or are y'all talking about stuff that your parents talked about?
What about the chocolate?
Pastor Jeff, do you believe this?
I didn't hear it.
Do you believe this?
What'd they say?
They're still talking about they get beatings.
It depends.
I can understand one of them, yeah.
I get beat. One of them. That's the
The chocolate?
chancla.
Hard and it never
Can somebody tell me what a chancla is?
never misses. It's a handle. It's just, you throw it.
I live in Arizona and don't know So it's a sandal you pretty much get hit with.
Yeah.
Yes. And it
So it's
never
used
ever
not
misses.
necessarily for your foot.
Hey, watch it on YouTube. The chancla.
So the remote control and the chancla are like synonymous. Got it. All right, I'm gonna go into my second verse, okay? I'm gonna squat down and get a chalk level, and I'm gonna go into the second verse. So hear me out on this. Hebrews 12:11, okay? For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant. Okay, I'm gonna say that one more time. For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant. So while it's happening, it seems painful, incredibly painful. Having your cell phone taken. Oh my gosh, I don't know who's texting me right now. I can't get on Instagram. I can't get on Facebook. Oh my gosh, my butt hurts. I just got a beaten. Oh my gosh, I gotta wear the same outfit. My girl's gonna talk about me. Like that, it's real though. That is very, very painful. Here's the second part to that verse. But later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. So what he's saying is discipline is crucial. It's crucial for you later in life. You're not going to understand it now. You're not going to know why your parents are doing what they do. You'll hear a lot of adults say there's a method to my madness. Trust and believe me that had my parents not disciplined me when they did when I was a child, I wouldn't be the woman I am today. Now, taking my life then, I look at a lot of my friends whose parents let them do whatever they wanted when they were my age. I'm like, man, my parents aren't cool like your parents. My parents don't let me do this. My parents don't let me do that. I can do this and I can do that. Or you can and I can't. So I always had this bitterness for my friends whose parents just let them do whatever they want. There was no structure. There was nothing. How many of you got friends like that? Whose parents just, like, if you want to party, you go to their house. We all got them friends? Some of y'all like, that might be my house. Listen, if anything, if I can think of anything, there are like 5 things I can think of in my life that my parents did to me as a child that, as I've brought it into my adult years, I'm incredibly thankful for now. It's the discipline. Okay, so I want you guys to think about that for just a second. Swing back to something else. Now, who watches football? A lot of y'all. Who knows who Adrian Peterson is?
Ooh.
Now, who can tell me why he's in the news right now?
Didn't he beat his girl?
Did he beat his wife?
His sons.
Y'all might be confusing. There we go.
Hit with the cord.
Who hit their son? Something right?
Wrong person.
bad.
Adrian Peterson is the one he was in the news for disciplining his child. Now, it's he say, she say at this point on, how intensely he beat the kid. That's not where I'm going with this. I want you guys to understand something. In the society that we live in right now, it's getting harder and harder for parents to be able to discipline their child the way they're supposed to and expect the child to be obedient. So we have less discipline, less obedience. So all these kids' house that you can go over to and do whatever you want, you're getting more and more parents who don't want to discipline their child. They don't want to do this. They'll lose their child to CPS. The kid will call the police. One parent, the grandparents may take the kid. The kid ends up being friends with the parent. So then you lose that parent-kid relationship. You guys hear what I'm saying? Now, from the natural, we swing that to the spiritual. Okay? Why did God give us parents? What? Lead the way. Just from right and wrong. There's 2 good ones. Okay. Good. I need a couple more. Some of y'all in the back that haven't spoken up yet. All of my guys are stepping up. Where my ladies at? Where my ladies at? There. I got it. So we can look up to them. So we can obey them, okay? So, now these are all spot-on answers. Nothing is wrong about those answers. But here's the problem. We don't want to obey our parents. So what are you telling God when you decide, okay, my parents did this, but I'm going to go this way? You're not necessarily just telling your parents, I'm not listening to you. You're saying, God, I don't trust the two people that you gave me to get me where I need to go. I'm going to go my way. Question? If you're not trustworthy, or why me? Why am I not? And not me in particular. I'm curious. What do you mean by I'm telling you? What am I saying? I don't trust. You're saying you can't. So you're saying I can't be trusted. You're right. You're right. You're definitely right. What he's saying is you're telling God you can't be trusted. But you know what else you're telling him? He can't be trusted. You don't trust that he's made the right decision to give you your parents. Whose parents are here in the room? Where were your parents at? I'm just kidding. Like, that's my daughter. She wasn't. She did it for me. I told her I was gonna have to call her on stage if she didn't want to. That's why she's giving me those evil eyes. Your parents are in the room. Now let me ask you something else. How many of you would say you actually have faith in God? You believe what he says? So if he tells you to do something, you're going to be obedient and do it?
Get them.
So what goes wrong when you actually are disobedient to your parent? So let me ask you this, because you're telling me right now, a lot of y'all put your hands up telling me that you're faithful, that you believe in God. How much easier is it to believe, to be obedient, to get disciplined by somebody that you can actually see? How much easier is it? And I want, yes, it is easy. No, it's not easy. I'm looking, okay, so let me use this as an example. This is my son. And I'm like, that's him? This is my kid, and I need him to do something, right? And he decides he wants to be disobedient. But he's going to sit here and tell me I obey God. But he can see me, and he's choosing to be disobedient to me. So what does that tell me about his relationship with God? It's not strong. Why is it not strong? So how do I know he's being faithful to him? You see what I mean? So what you guys have to understand is your relationship with your parents is a direct reflection of your relationship with Christ.
That's right.
So when you decide, hey, I'm not going to listen. Hey, this is my curfew. I had an 11 o'clock curfew until I left my parents' house. You know how embarrassing that was? 11 o'clock. I'm 18 years old. My parents were like, if you're still in my house, this is your curfew. But I had to be obedient. And you know what happened to a lot of my friends who were out running past midnight? They're in jail. Some of them are pregnant. Some of them didn't go to school. They had no structure to their life. So while I was sitting at home, mad at my parents, bitter, at that point in my life, and I'm going to be very real with you guys, I'm listening to Eminem and wanting to take over the world, and I'm just angry. Because that's what we do at this age, right? And we're just angry. We're mad for no reason. But trust me when I tell you, at 27 years old, my parents disciplining me and me actually being obedient to what they told me was probably one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Y'all aren't hearing me. I'm going to go home and take my phone from my parents. No. They take it. You go ahead.
I've always been one to listen to my parents. Like, and I've actually seen some situations with friends where it's like, really their parents are, at the same time, they'll be loose with them, and then at the same time, they won't realize sometimes the maturity of the child. Like, I have a friend, he's just super mature as can be, and her mom literally took her out of school because she was scared of her from making the same mistakes.
She was making the same mistakes that she would make.
Her mom got pregnant as a teenager. She was afraid her daughter was going to be the same thing.
What? Because she felt like she was mature. At what age did she take her out of school? Don't mind me asking. How old did she? So at 15 years old, she was taken out of school for those reasons.
Yeah, that she had not done it.
She hasn't done any of those things. So that, in that aspect, would fall on the relationship between the mother and the daughter. the mother probably has her own deep-rooted issues that she would have to deal with, and now she's portraying them onto her daughter. In a sense, she's almost stunting her growth. Does that make You see what I'm saying? Like, you need those years. You need to fall on your face. You need to go through a desert. These emotions that you guys experience at this age, these are necessary. But it's how you deal with them, and you have to understand that your parents are not going to lead you astray. Know that when they tell you something, they're telling you for a reason. They've been there. Now, in a case like that, to stop her from going to school at age 15, in my opinion, if her mom is feeling like she's matured and at 15, she's probably going to end up rebelling. She's still too young. She's very, very young. 15 is a very young age. Anybody else got a situation, a scenario, a question? Anybody? Anything? Not you?
Baby.
That's going to fall into your relationship with Christ. So she asked, what if the family's abusive? In that abuse, I feel like he's going to show you some things that's going to help you come up out of that abuse. We always say God doesn't give us any more than we can handle. I feel like if I was in a situation where my family was abusive, I'd run, like I'm hauling butt the other direction. But at the same time, if he put you there, and I'm not saying that the individual should stay there, but there's something to be got there. You know what I mean? Like, I would put myself in a situation where when things are bad for me, I'm like, okay, the passions of Christ. I struggle to this day to watch the Passion of the Christ. But every time I think about how bad things are, I'm like, this man did nothing. He's walking with the cross. He's being beat. He's having the skin ripped off of him. He's nailed to a cross. He has thorns on his head. And he already knew when he got here everything that was going to happen to him. You know what I mean? So I almost try to put myself in that perspective. I'm here for a reason. I might be in the situation for a reason. But God, I'm going to give it all to you. I'm laying it down. You got me. So those are the types of approaches I try to take in situations like that. Not that I've been in an abusive family to even know, to speak on it firsthand. But I think everybody bears their cross. And if he has you there, there's something you're going to give somebody else from that situation. Your testimony might change the life of somebody else.
Amen.
So you've been able to speak life into other people? Yeah. Well, no, and at the same time, I feel like some people they get to their desert or their hard place, and they almost want to take their life before he even reveals to them why you're there.
That's good.
Don't worry about why you're there. Worry about getting through it, and then he'll show you why he put you there.
That's good.
That's what I mean.
My brother is not. That's not enough, but my parents.
So it's just kind of bouncing off of him. At how early in life did they start disciplining? Because I'm not going to say sometimes it's too late.
Yeah. Well, it was for a while. Started around 6.
They started disciplining, and he's still looking back. If they started that young, you train a child up in the way he should go, he'll come back.
Amen.
That's still being silent, huh?
Just me.
I just want him to talk back to me. Just have a little conversation. Anybody else got anything else they would like to add or ask? Because these are issues. Like at this age, discipline and obedience is crucial. So I know you guys are dealing with, my parents are on me about this. My parents want me to do that. I don't want to. I'm not going to. So I know these are things that you guys are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. I just want to talk about it. Who's first? I know there's 3, you guys. We'll hit all 3.
I know someone who talks to, it's only her and her mom in the house, and I know that she's like 14, and she talks to her mom like she is.
So it's one of those relationships.
Yeah, and her mom never does anything.
She lets her.
Yeah, her mom doesn't care.
So she's like the family that I was talking about in the beginning, where there's no rules established. Your friend, your best bet would be to pray for her. Definitely pray for her. she's gonna grow up too soon, and it's gonna lead to a lot of bad things.
Yeah, and her mom like rewards it. Technically. Like her mom gets her anything she wants.
All right, my ladies. I know there were two of you. Or were you raising hands for her?
Like, what did they tell you, like, not to date a guy or something? Because that guy, like, what did they tell you, like, not to date a guy or something?
Not to date a guy until what age? Or until you're dead?
Yeah.
Don't date till you're dead?
Yeah. I still did
They
it.
didn't give you a specific age?
Yeah, like, what if you still did it anyway?
Usually, because if they tell you not to date, what happens when you're not allowed to date, but you decide to date anyway? You have to sneak to do everything. And everything in darkness comes to light.
No, but, like, they, like, we were friends, but they didn't know we were dating.
You guys are friends, but they don't know you're dating?
No, I'm single.
You're not dating?
It was before.
But you ended up dating?
Yeah.
Your parents knew. Parents know. Oh, I had a little man over here with a question.
Ew.
Do you know what grade that is? So you're asking if they take every, like, what exactly are you asking? Why would they take it with that grade? If they're taking something from you with a grade like that, it's probably and your parents will always set a bar high and make you go after it. If they're setting it down here and they're okay with the D, you're gonna go like it's okay to perform at that level. See what I mean? You never want to do D work. You're always striving for an A. If you're a B student, strive for that B, strive for that A minus. But your parents' job is to set a bar high for you so you can learn. You can't do any better than that. All right, we'll go with two more and then I'll wrap it up.
My friend doesn't have the strongest relationship with her mother because her mother is like kind of a child and she didn't grow up herself. And she was
Hey, did everybody hear what she just said?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Her relationship with her mom isn't the best. Her mom is like a child herself. She is just out doing her own thing, not really in her daughter's life. And she lives with her dad, and her dad doesn't really set any rules for her. And she goes home alone every time she's after school, and she's just 13.
At 13?
Yeah.
And she lives with the dad.
And she lives with her dad and her sister. And she's one of those girls who's like, oh, I'll do whatever I want. I can go out.
Does she have a relationship with her? No. Not really or not at all?
Not at all. And she's very boisterous.